once you decided that you wanted to be an executor rather than a consultant, right? Did you consider opportunities, say, on the continent to do that rather than taking the risk of going to be a student outside of the continent?
So I like that question because it touches on the uncertainty that could come with making that decision to even apply for the MBA. If I'm being honest here, I was not one of those people that came into the MBA saying that, oh, from day one I'm doing IB, investment banking or consulting. So it was more really like an exploratory thing. I just wanted to open my mind to the opportunities that could come. I just wanted to learn. Going for the MBA was just a revolutionary experience because it just allowed me to see what else is out there, what else can be, have a broader mindset, have other people around me too that have this fascinating experiences.
Welcome to a special production of the Business 101 podcast. I am your host, Ayo Oye. This is a limited series specifically sharing stories and experiences from some of the world's most selective and most prestigious business schools from the lens of recent international graduates. And if you don't want to miss out on conversations like this, please consider subscribing to this channel and turning on notifications. Today, I have the immense honor of welcoming a special guest from one of Europe's premier business schools and one of my personal favorites, ranked consistently as one of the most prestigious in Europe and the rest of the world, London Business School at the University of London. My guest today is Aminat Sokunbi, a strategy professional with a track record of shaping scalable, impactful solutions, hand over 4 years at Deloitte and Strategy end. At London Business School, she held leadership roles in the Africa Business Club, Back in Business, and the People Strategy Club, and co-led the LBS Africa Business Conference. Her time at LBS, implemented by a semester at Wharton, significantly broadened our global business perspective. She is currently exploring roles at the intersection of strategy and operations with a focus on driving tangible data-driven results in dynamic environments. One outside of our professional pursuits, Aminat is the founder of Ominira, a visual storytelling brand that blends art, fashion, and film to explore identity and expression. Self-proclaimed light adrenaline enthusiast, she enjoys escape rooms and immersive games that combine creativity with problem solving. At her core, she's driven by a desire to use strategic thinking to solve complex real-world challenges, particularly those with the potential for lasting, meaningful impact. All of that said, it is my pleasure to welcome Aminat to the podcast. Thank you for being here, Aminat.
Yeah, thanks. That was definitely a mouthful. I was like, are you not tired?
I love it.
Just
I love it.
reading that. That was definitely a mouthful. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to delve into the tips and secrets, I
Yeah,
guess,
I know you.
applying to business.
Yeah, I know it took us a minute to try and find the time that works. I wanted to start by thanking you for taking the time, to have this conversation. I know it must have been uncomfortable. We have 6 hours between us, so it's been a hassle getting a good time. But thank you for being here. So we were talking about your profile, and I feel like I didn't do enough justice to it. Like, I feel like that's a good place to start, right?
Mhm.
Let's add some flesh to that. I just read out some words and all of that. Add some flip to it. So if you can start by talking about on your childhood, kind of growing up, what the journey to, being a professional looked like, and everything that happened before you decided to get an MBA. So who was Amina? What kind of work did you do? What kind of interest did you have in the business world before the MBA conversation came up?
Okay. I feel like I should ask you how much you charge per hour. So, because it's therapy session. I'm just
Don't
teasing.
worry, your secrets are safe with me, okay? This is confidential.
Yes, we're definitely not broadcasting this anyway. This is between us. Yeah. So my you talk about my childhood. Yeah. So I was, I guess, born into a family of like, how many are we? Well, four. I have all sisters, so that was definitely an
Plenty bride price for your daddy.
interesting dynamic in the house, and just a lot of fights, sister fights, yada yada yada. But I mean, I love them dearly, so just normal sibling stuff. So yeah, I grew up in a family of four with my parents and in Lagos, really pretty much for as long as I can remember. And I did some part of my school in Lagos as well before I went for my A levels. And then I went to uni as well. I studied chemical engineering in university. I just thought about something that in the next how many years, this is not going to probably be the same story for like an average youth. Because why do you even need to go to university? I don't know.
Yeah, I know, I know.
I don't even need to do all that stuff, to be honest. Times have changed. So yeah, I did chemical engineering, and then I found myself in consulting. So I must admit, I won't say it was planned, but it made sense with my background and what I like to do, what I realized I like to do during my engineering projects in school. And it was more like just, uh, aside from the fact that it was fun to, I think I remember my final project was like how to design this chemical plants. That was pretty fun. But also, I noticed I was more analytical inclined, and also just like figuring out where the issues are or the problems are, like in the design, how to solve that, how to create like the most efficient chemical plants, for example, and also from the project management side. So there are a lot of things that overlapped, and so it made sense as to why I naturally hit the ground running when I go into consulting. So I was in consulting for a few years, 4 years to be exact. I decided to go for my MBA. Why did I want to do my MBA? Well, I wanted to see more of what was out there, to be honest, because as much as I loved my time in consulting, well, good and bad. I don't know if there's any job that you love 100%, but
Yeah.
as much as I learned quite a bit and I met some really inspiring people that I hold dearly, felt that there was I always wanted to see more, especially like more of the execution side of things as opposed to just strategy, because that's what I did mainly for clients, helping them develop their strategy. So I wanted to execute. And I also just wanted to see more of what was out there because consulting was all I knew. The MBA was naturally a logical next step for me to apply for. So I did that. Uh, on business school, why? Remember my
Don't talk about that yet. Don't talk about that yet.
okay,
Okay. So,
okay,
so
all right.
um, you know what you said about wanting to execute is it's probably one of the most popular reasons why consultants leave consulting. Like I was talking to a partner at McKinsey last year when I was there for the summer, and he had started his career at McKinsey, grew to, then he left for 6 years to build a startup, and then came back as AP. And we're talking about like why he took that break, and it was like it's a very popular reason. Like people get so used to like seeing I mean, you spend hours in building strategy, building transformation plans for companies, and then if you're lucky, you see your plans and your strategies coming to life and helping this company you know uh, um get better, grow, raise more money, all of that. And at some point you're like, okay, I want to be a part of those who make this happen. So I feel like that makes sense that you had been in consulting for 4 years and then you decided to go get an MBA. But at the point when you're like, okay, I'm gonna get an MBA, right? I feel like a lot of people or a lot of internationals find themselves choosing between European and North American MBAs. And I say North American specifically, right? Because it's not just America, there's Canada and maybe a couple other countries that people typically go to. Do you feel like you had that kind of decision-making process, or was it Europe from the start, LBS from the start? Because you eventually did a semester at Wharton, right, in the second year. So what was that decision-making process in terms of selecting the school to go to? What did that look like?
For me, it was important to actually look at the curriculum and what they're going to teach and the kind of experiential programs I would have access to. So that was also a deciding factor for me when I chose LBS. And I spoke to some people that had gone there as well. And I just got like a good sense around that. So that was a kind of a convoluted way to answer your question, but
So I'm wondering, right, once you decided that you wanted to be an executor rather than a consultant, right? Did you consider opportunities, say, on the continent to do that, to contribute to project execution or to own the end-to-end of project value chains or strategy consulting, project value chains, rather than taking the risk of going to be a student outside of the continent? Did
yeah.
that kind of thinking come up, or were you sold from the one on, I want to get an MBA, it's going to present a global opportunity to do this, and that's where it go?
Yeah. So I like that question because it touches on the uncertainty that could come with making that decision to even apply for the MBA. If I'm being honest here, I was not one of those people that came into the MBA saying that, oh, from day one, I'm doing IB, investment banking or consulting. I'm like, okay, coffee chats. Like that was not the vibe, to be honest. So it was more really like an exploratory thing. I just wanted to open my mind to the opportunities that could come. I wanted to learn. That was my major thing. I just wanted to learn. I wanted to see. So for me, going for the MBA was just a revolutionary experience because it just allowed me to see what else is out there, what else can be, have a broader mindset, have other people around me too that have this experience, like this fascinating experiences and from different walks of life, just being in that same environment. Of course, I didn't know this before I went in. What really drove me was I just wanted to see what else was out there. I feel like there was much more. And also, like I said, I wanted to upskill myself, finance, marketing, all those things that I didn't have formal training on. That was also a major reason why. I'm not, I don't think all is lost, like going back home. Yeah, I plan to. Not sure when, but
Yeah.
it's in the works. So it's definitely something that just to summarize, I just wanted to upskill myself and I wanted to broaden my mindset, global mindset. I know it sounds like boo boo, but that's the
It
truth.
makes sense to me. Yeah, I people that are listening feel like it makes sense to me personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, once you decided you're going to get an MBA, go to LBS and all of that, was it easy to convince your parents, your family that this was the right idea? Did they get it from like day one? We didn't talk about whether you were the first child or if you had older siblings who had maybe gone to graduate school and things like that. But what was that conversation like, right? When you were telling your parents, "Oh, I'm going to leave this fancy job that I have in Nigeria and go to school in London." What did that look like?
That's a good question. To be honest, in my head, I'm still a baby girl for life. So like I'm still like this young girl who's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna discover, just take a year off and travel to this place. I'm just joking. No, but for real though, I don't. It was not something that took a lot of convincing, to be honest. It wasn't. My parents are very open. They support me in anything I do. Well, not anything, most things, if it makes sense, but they do largely. Honestly, they've been like a large support system for me. Like they make up a large support system for me. My parents both have MBAs. That's why I didn't
Yeah,
take a lot of
that
convincing
makes
them
sense
to.
now. Okay.
It was just like, yeah, it makes sense. I don't even think my dad even knew how long the program was for. I don't even think they even know the details. It was just like, okay, I want to do this. And it was like, oh, it was a graduate degree because I don't have a master's. So I guess they also saw it as like, you know what? It's also, I guess, in a master's, even though some of my classmates, they find it funny when I say MBA is a master's, but it is. Well, yeah.
That's the name,
So
right? Masters.
Yeah, it's like master's, and I'm like, but it is though. It's a master's degree. I won't say it took a lot of convincing. They supported me, which I really appreciate throughout the journey.
I feel like I forgot this. They do, I know they have like different term lengths, like for the MBA. When I was applying, they had 15, 18, and 21. Which one did you do?
Yeah, I did the 21.
The 21.
Yeah, like the full one.
Okay, okay. Because you mentioned, oh, go take a gap year. So I'm like, wait, was it a year? Like, it sounded closer to 2 years. Okay, makes sense. And was there any moment where you personally had cold feet and almost didn't go? Maybe during the application process, did anything like that happen? Once you had decided to go, then it was just go, 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 no doubt.
The MBA.
Yeah.
Yes. There was a time when I was kind of second guessing myself a bit, and so I told you that I would only have gone to the US if I went to a top school, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember, which actually my friend, I'm sure you know him, Femi, he was like, he wanted, it was like, US, just go. I was like, bro, no, I ain't doing that. That's not, I'm not gonna do that, man.
Is it always
And
fire?
so I got LBS. I was like, and then I decided to second because I was like, wait, should I just try again next year? Like, just try to like get into that top school. Should I just try? And since I told myself like I would only go there if it's a top school, and prestige also with the MBA adds a lot to the outcome. Like when you finish and come up with top school. And I remember having conversations with some of my friends that some Harvard alum and also some people that had applied there, and they had friends also like that graduated from HBS. And they were just talking about the opportunities that they got out of it. I was like, okay, should I rethink this? Should I try again? But I'm really glad I went with my gut because I just said, you know what? Excuse me. I think this happened for a reason, and I'm religious, so I prayed and I talked to some of my, I guess, mentors, spiritual and career mentors as well, just to kind of just talk it through with them. And yeah, I ultimately, after discussions and just prayers and reflection, I just ultimately went to LBS, and it's like it's a good school.
Amazing. And we're here today having this conversation because you went to LBS. So thank
You know what?
you.
If I had decided to stay, I'm sure things would have worked out as well. So
Yeah. It
another year.
would have, I guess so. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you decide to go and you don't regret the decision. That's good to know. So now let's talk about the fun part of this conversation, which is usually the application process, right?
That's fun because I don't remember having fun that time. I almost died.
It's fun when you talk about it in hindsight, when you relive the moment. So let think about everything from writing the GRE or the GMAT, trying to find application fee waivers. I know LBS doesn't give waiver because they didn't give me a waiver. Anyway, looking for application fee waivers, getting the visa, finding loan, all of those crazy experiences that come with the application process. Let's talk about.
Mhm.
And I'm just gonna let you rant for a few minutes. No particular question. Just tell me everything you remember about your application process, and then I'll ask specific questions.
So the application process was, let me just make sure I'm using the right words. Is it arduous? I
Yeah,
think that's the right.
arduous. Yeah,
It was, well, GRE. Those words came in handy.
yeah. I used to. Um, so when I was applying to business school, I was living in London, right? I would be on the train going to work, and I'll be plugged in. People would think, oh, he's listening to a podcast or he's reading the news.
Yeah, well,
GRE words, different words. I converted them to like, I asked, so Magbush had this service where they would, you could pay to get like the words used in sentences and things like that. And I would listen to that for like hours every time I went to work. I never read for English. I didn't have the time. That was the only way I could learn the words. But yeah, sorry to cut you.
that's some dedication right there. It reminds me of what's it called? How like the consulting prep. I'm sure you must have been
Oof.
doing stuff on your train because I heard
Yeah,
stories around that, like
yeah,
on the train and all that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. So to answer your question about the process, let's start with GRE because GRE comes farther
yeah.
like, what's that word now? It comes like way before,
before
rather,
the application. Yeah.
before the application. I remember, okay, so I did the GRE. Why? Because it was easier, less convoluted than GMAT. I said, I don't want to stress myself here. Like I said, baby girl for life. I'm not doing that. So I just decided to do the GRE. And I remember I got a GRE tutor. Yes, very nice guy, great guy. Like, helped me put some structure to things. And after I was with him for a month, I took some time off work. I took leave to just like practice for the GRE
Yeah.
and then do my exam. So I did like the home exam. Do they still go to physical centers to do it, to do the GRE?
I think you can still do if you want, but a lot of people probably just test at home also.
Okay. So I did the home exam with the proctor. That, I mean, you did GRE too, so you know that was a very, very interesting experience for sure. I mean, learning the words was fine, but having to like do all those tests and all those things. I remember I would call my tutor on the phone. I'll just be like, "Oh, I'll just use some random ass words
Yeah.
to describe my day, just so I can use the word." There's one word I remember.
What was it? What was
I
it?
remember inundated, because I remember I
Inundated.
was watching this like TV show. I was thinking, GRE, these words, people don't use these things in real life.
Yeah.
I was watching a TV show and they were like, oh yeah, the whole room was inundated with water. I was like,
Yeah.
what? I just hear inundated. That was very weird. Yeah, long story short, the GRE, I practiced, got a tutor, took some time out for work, just studied and then did the exam online. Yeah, but I remember I got like a 315, which at the time I felt that, oh, that was not good because I wanted to like apply to the top schools, right? I was like, this is not going to cut it because I think top schools are like what, 20? I'm not sure. I don't recall
325.
exactly. So I was like, oh, this is not even gonna, it's not gonna cut it. So I was like, should I do it again? But you know what? At that point, I said, I just don't have time. I had to go back to work. And I said, you know what? I'll just leave it up to God. We'll see what happens and we'll just call it a day. So that was a GRE. I wrote the GRE, I want to say March of the year I applied. And so I then had to think about just the essay, right? So I applied in second round, not first. Why not first? Because I think I was still trying to figure out the in and outs and refine my story. I really had to refine my story and really do some introspective work. And you know, with the US schools, they really ask you like those kind of deep life
Yeah,
questions and all
you
that.
cannot reason your way out. Like you need to know your reason.
Yeah, you need to find yourself, um, at least put on the character. Whatever character, you have to stick with it.
Yeah.
Like whatever you decide to do. But so yeah, I told you I applied to some US schools. That was Harvard and Wharton. So the Harvard one did require me to really do some introspective work. I had to really dig deep and think and all those things. So I was doing that, getting feedback from people, talking to people, reaching out. I reached out on LinkedIn to alums from those schools to find out more about the process. And I came across very helpful people that I'm still friends with to today. Yeah, so that was more like the research exploratory phase. And it was really helpful to have other people. Actually, I didn't even know this. What am I even saying? Yes, of course, I had friends that were also applying for the MBA. So that was nice to have like a camaraderie. So I wasn't alone doing it, not completely at least. And then it was now after the whole thing, I got LBS and all that I realized other people in my office too. A lot of us actually like also going for MBAs.
Are you serious? It seems
No. So there's Mubashir that went to Harvard. There was this guy, and like
wait, were you at PwC?
yeah, I was at
Okay,
PwC.
because
That's
you
where I
said
was.
strategy. I used to work at PwC too. Emeka and I worked at PwC together.
Oh really? Oh, that's
I
nice.
went to PwC
Yeah.
2018 to
There's actually
2020.
like a lot of PwC guys. Like there was
Yeah.
another guy. I don't think I know him
You
personally.
know Pascal?
And yes,
Pascal,
yes,
yeah. Pascal was our
yes,
year as well. Got in
yes.
together. Lucky
And
went.
Itunu as well, but Itunu went to INSEAD. I don't know if you know Itunu, but she was at INSEAD.
I don't.
A number of us that actually I didn't even know that they were applying. I was just like after I was like, oh, that's
I
nice.
think
Like
that's how it is now. Everybody will.
yes, and then just do your own thing and then bye. It was so funny, like the outflux of like people just doing that MBA. But I'm very grateful for my time at PwC. I've met some really amazing people. So, but I digress. I had another friend that also applied for MBA. So that was the exploratory phase. And then this was coming to about August, September or so. I think I applied for second round for all of them. I think so. Yeah, I did. But I refined my story, Sha. I'll just say that I just kept refining it. So I applied to Harvard, but unfortunately I didn't get to the interview stage. Wharton, I did, and
CBD.
I remember, yeah, I remember calling my friend, and he was like, "No, Wharton, are you kidding me? That's really cool." Like I was like, "Bro," like, it was so funny because, I mean, not to throw shade to my friend, but he didn't think that I would actually get into like past interview stage. He's like, "What? What's it?" It was so funny because I was like, why you shocked though? Like, what's happening? Excuse me? But anyways, yeah, TBD. I know also, okay, to the people that don't know what TBD is, it's basically Watson's interview process. Like it's this thing where they put you in a group of in a group of five with
Yeah,
strangers,
yeah.
and you have to solve. Oh, you have to not solve, but like figure out where to. Was it invest a country or something to
Yeah,
do?
I think the TBD stands for team-based discussion, right? And it was Wharton's unique interview style where five of you are
Hmm.
going to get like a particular problem statement. It could be kind of in the sense of a consulting case or something. And all you do is get the case. You guys have to figure out how to answer the question. So you have to
Yes.
assign roles, who's going to be the interviewer, who's going to be
Yeah.
the timekeeper, who's going to be
Thank you,
all
Paul.
of that.
Yeah.
And then you think about the case. So it was interesting. Yeah. Remember, that's how we met, actually.
Is it? Is it?
That's how we
Yes, it
met at
is.
Wharton
It
GPD.
is.
Yes,
That
that's
is
how
how we
we met.
met.
Yeah.
Yo, that's how I met a lot of people. That's how I met what's this guy's name again? No, gosh, I forgot. He knows. I'm not gonna say, but anyway, I met quite a few people through Wharton actually, and people that actually got in. I saw them during their semester abroad, so that was like a nice kind of full circle moment. Funny story, during the TBD, during the interview, my internet went off. So I, for like full on, I knew that was my biggest fear.
Mhm.
So I made sure that, okay, we put on the generator, even though there was lights. And I just made sure, just make sure everything was fine. Turns out it was actually the internet connection that was SHIT, pardon my French. And so we went off mid discussion. And so when I came back, it was like cracking. I was like, "Oh, hey guys, can I?" So everybody was talking, but I didn't know it wasn't in real time.
Oh,
Safe to say my TBD was a mess, but I tried to redeem myself through the individual. At the end they'll ask you to do like a one-on-one thing. I had to redeem myself. So I prayed to God. I was like, "God, like I leave in your hands now. I've done the best I could, and let's keep moving." So and at this point, like you're applying for different schools and all that. And I remember like when they sent me email, I was like, "Oh my God," I was shaking. And I remember like when I got the rejection email, I literally cried. Like I had not cried throughout this whole process. It was like, okay, I was just because like I got the Harvard one fine. But I literally cried because I think at that point I had like accepted that, okay, you know what? This is like Wharton, it's a good school. I said I wasn't going to go on unless it was a good school, and I got this one. So that it will work out. My sister also lives in the US. So I was like, okay, that would be pretty cool. I will see her. I had some like friends. I was like, okay, it won't be like at least I will have some sort of like support system there as well. So I was actually like comments like, okay, just ask, okay, you know what? I think I could actually even go do Wharton. As when I didn't, and also this thing takes so much time. Like, I don't know about you, but you know this, like the TBD thing, like you
yeah.
practice, you put in so much work. I think it was also like the fact that I put in so much work, and it just made me so sad. And you're working, you have your 9 to 5, and you're also applying for other schools. Dude, I was like, this is the height of it.
PTSD.
I
I have
literally cried.
PTSD right now.
I called my mom. I called my dad. Like I called my mom. My dad was there, and then literally, my parents don't really hear me. Like I don't really cry. So like when I cried, they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's okay." Like da da da. Like it was just like a whole. I think it was like a combination of like everything and all the stress and all that stuff. So that was a tough time. But it lasted for like 2 days. I think it was just me just trying to figure out next steps and just like get ready for the next interviews. So so that was Wharton and Harvard. Then I also applied to Cambridge. George, yes, George. That's how I met one of my friends, Orobosa. It's so funny. I meet so many people doing this MBA process. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm making even before the actual MBA, which is really nice. And yeah, so George and then Wharton. Yeah. So those are the three. And of course, yes, you mentioned the waivers. That is very correct. I tried to get waivers. I think Westman was giving a waiver. Don't remember now, but I think they were. So I got that one. LBS, no luck with waiver.
They don't.
And I don't think George as well does. So it was just Westman. So
Also doesn't give, you're right. Yeah. They don't give to a lot of people. Maybe they give to some. Wharton?
oh, okay.
I don't think they give.
Yeah, I think there's an option. You're right, but they don't give it to everybody. Excuse me. So so then for the essays, like I said, I refined it, right? So I noticed actually the Wharton essay was pretty similar to the European style. Like they were not asking like, what's your purpose in this life? It was more like, okay, so what do you want to do? How can we help you? Which was like, so I noticed that the essay, when it worked for Wharton, and I was like, okay, this has given me like, I've tested this and it works. So I was literally the same essay I used for LBS, and that worked too. George, honestly, I don't remember the essays for George. George was weird. Like they had a different way. Like it was, and all these schools have different ways they ask the questions.
Yeah.
So you can't just use the same. You kind of
Yeah.
have to just
Refine at the very least. Yeah.
exactly. So George was a very long one as well. I remember like I fine-tuned George a lot. There was an essay and then there were other questions, like so many questions. So George too took some time. I think Rockman. I just remember Rockman now. Rockman was also interesting. Did you do Rockman? Okay. So they wanted you to like talk about, it was very interesting. It wasn't a typical essay. I think you had to attach either like an illustration or a picture that showed something, and it had.
That was exactly what Berkeley did.
Oh, really?
Berkeley
I
was
actually liked
you
it
have
as
you
well.
have
I
to
actually
attach three
enjoyed it.
pictures and talk about like why those pictures, what
Really?
they signify. Yeah. That
Maybe,
was Berkeley.
maybe. I think it might be the same year. I was like, this is really fun. I actually enjoyed Rossman. Although I remember like, God, of course, last minute girly, literally like the deadline was like the next day or something. And I was like stayed up all night. And I think that's my brain just went into hyper gear for Rockman. I was like, yeah, let's do this. But I actually really enjoyed the Rockman process. I maybe talk about things I actually liked and enjoyed, as opposed to just a standard career. Okay, what do you want to do and how can we help you? So that was pretty, I liked the Rockman process. So yeah, it's with the essays, what I'd say is just in case anybody is trying to apply for like European schools.
Yeah.
I know like would like when you go to the point and you talk about what you've been doing before, show that you have an idea of what you want to do after the MBA. And there's like a common thread between the two and how they can help you. So pretty much what I said about like, I want to be, what did I even say in my essay? I think I was more of like digital strategy and like execution. I think that's what I said. Of course, that could change, but they just want to see that you have an idea and you kind of have the skills, or at least. What do you say?
I said that there's a plan. They want to know there's a plan.
Exactly. There has to be a single thread. So it's like a story, like an arc. This is where I start. This is the gap I have. LBS can help me fill this gap. Yeah, this is what I want to do. LBS can help me fill in the gap to achieve what I want to do. And then talk about LBS itself and why that school. I think that's what I did. And I also used some online resources that this is it. I'm Amir Kashi. One guy, I don't remember his name. I need to check it up actually.
Okay.
You never heard of him? Okay. Well, I used his website, was very helpful for me, and he had very useful advice on the website. So that's what I used. So anyway, that was that with the essays. And then the first interview I had for the European schools, I think that was Cambridge George. I was so scared. I was terrified because I was like, this is my first MBA interview and I didn't want to mess it up. And it was like behavioral questions. But I practiced and I noticed that just building a rapport with the interviewer really helped me calm my nerves before the interview actually like went into full gear. Didn't even ask that many questions, maybe like 2 or 3 questions to be honest. I mean, that was it. I just remember too that I don't know about you, you told me some of the schools had a pre-interview screening. So online, you just record yourself and they ask you questions.
There was one school. Yeah. Yale had that. It's so funny how I still remember this schools and their different nuances. I didn't even know I still remember them. But yeah, you had a pre-interview recording thing that you had to do. Only European school I applied to was LBS. Like I'm not sure what any other process is like except LBS. I
I
almost went
think
to
actually
LBS. I loved LBS. I
you did.
like LBS.
Okay, yeah, it's a good school. Yeah, so we did have the pre-interview. Sorry for the background noise. The pre-interview screening and questions. I think LBS had that, and then yeah, so that I mean that was the interview. Get ready for the interview process, and then at this point, yeah, that was Cambridge. Rotman, I think they also had the interview. LBS also had a pre-interview screening and then interview, and they usually an alum to interview you. So that was interesting. They usually try to match you with the similar interests, similar backgrounds they have with an alum. Usually try to match an alum with similar interests to you.
Okay. I
So
want to
that was
make
interesting.
sure that we have enough time because I have like 20 more questions for you. So I want to make sure that we have enough time to get through them.
Okay.
To talk about I don't know, maybe it applies the visa process. Was that difficult? Since you're going to Europe, I don't know if was there any.
Yeah, like it's not compared to you guys there. And I remember we had a group chat. Shout out to Sharon. We had a group chat and we used to see how you guys. I'm very for the US student visa.
Or
My God,
really, is it?
that was intense.
Yeah.
I feel for. I think some people were rejected. They had to go back again, like try and look for that date. It was just imagine that was almost very stressful. With LBS, like London, there wasn't an issue. I think did my visa come out early-ish enough? I think it took some time to come out. When I say it's straightforward, except the long form. It's so long. I think if I remember, or maybe that's a tourist one. Honestly,
What
but
do
I
you
shall
mean the visa application form?
yeah.
That was the toughest part of the process.
Yeah, did we have? I don't think we had an interview with no. So it
Yeah,
was
I don't
just more
think
like
UK doesn't need your interview.
yeah. I think maybe it's a Europe. Okay, let me say UK thing. I don't know about Europe, but maybe it's a UK thing. Compared to US, I know they have very strict immigration laws, so maybe that's why it was harsher. But yeah, so that was that. Yeah.
I feel like you've yeah.
I don't know what did Corona say about Spain? Did they have? Was it also? Was this?
Okay, I think for the Schengen, I don't think it was an interview. I don't think she had an interview. Obviously, there's a long wait time depending on where your port of entry is. But I think the toughest part of it was like getting a date. I don't think there was any technicality in terms of yeah. And everyone that didn't go to the US got their visa on the first try that I know of. So yeah, significantly,
Yeah.
I guess yeah. But yeah, thanks for sharing very succinctly and expressly. Let me use my GRE words about your interview. But let's assume that I don't know where your school is, right? So I don't know anything about your school. Tell me about where your school is. So like the city where your school is, the kind of activities that city is known for, aside the MBA bubble, right? What else was there to do in the city that you lived for 2 years? What part of that city life did you like or did not like being a part of?
So LBS is in London. It's the name.
Yeah.
London, UK, United Kingdom.
London, England, United.
I think there's a London somewhere else.
There's London in Canada. There's London in a lot of
Yes,
places, actually.
that's the one. Yes. Yeah. So, and London is known for a variety of things. I guess it's like New York, right? Where it's like it's very diverse. Oh my gosh, I think that's what I love about London. You never just feel out of place, you know. And I don't know if you also feel this way, but being an African, you don't really see like everybody's just the same back home. But it's the same, so you don't really feel out of place. And then you come to the West and you're like, wait, oh, this thing is a thing, like racism, for example. I'm not saying that I've experienced that, but I'm just saying like these are bigger topics here, right? And it's something that you just don't even you don't experience, to be honest, back home.
And for most people you don't even know you're black until you leave the continent.
Yeah, I'm like,
Because everybody
what?
knows
Like,
everybody.
I'm black, so like that's a thing, you know? So it's like, who cares? So yeah, and so London is a very diverse pot of people. I love that about London. And what can you do in London? Well, it depends on your interest. There's a myriad of things that you could do. What did I do? Well, I love my company, so I'm not the worst person to answer this question. But I'm like I told you, like in the bio, right? Like my light adrenaline junkie, just lights. Please, I'm not doing bungee jumping. I don't know who does that. Or skydive, please, But things like escape room or things like what else? Paintball. I love that. Like laser tag, all those things.
Laser time, yeah.
Love that. That was so fun. I literally I love those things. And I used to organize them and invite my classmates as well. Really fun. Also, there's a lot of art in London as well, museums, amazing museums in
Yeah.
London. There's also, of course, football. I'm not I
Soccer.
should not say football. Yeah,
The
soccer.
original football. That's
Soccer.
what she's talking about.
Soccer. Yeah, soccer. Yeah, there's that as well. And what else? Oh, the food, of course. A lot of food, diverse food from different places. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's mind blowing. What else is there?
LBS is
Well, I mean,
also kind of it's not a college. It doesn't have like defined barriers, right? Like Oxford does. It's kind of in the middle of the city, right? Yeah.
yes. And we have two campuses.
Yeah.
So it's not even like just one, and we have to like walk. I want to say like 8 minutes from one to the next.
Is one at Auburn or is it Tottenham Court Road?
No, this one is Marylebone. That's where it is.
Marylebone. And where's the
It's the same Marylebone. And Baker Street is the closest
Baker
one to
Street?
it.
Yes, Baker
Yeah,
Street.
Baker
Okay.
Street and Marylebone.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Also, if the individual anyone likes nightlife, there's like a large like nightlife scene
Oh,
in London as
and
well.
drinking.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Literally, that is the culture. Going out for drinks and all that stuff. So, yeah. 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 Honestly, if you had given me time to think about this, I swear I would have come up with a list. But honestly, I'm blanking right
No,
now.
I mean, I think you mentioned 5, 6, 7 things. And I mean, I agree. That's the majority of things that is there to do in London. Kind of to your point, right? Because London is not a college town or a college city.
See, there are there are a lot of like universities. If there's even Westminster right next to us, actually. Yeah. UCL, like King's College. And there's so many actually in London. So many actually. I thought I did.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
you're right that there's a lot of universities, but what I meant is, I don't know if you've, like Unilag, for example, right? Unilag is a particular location where once you enter the gate, everywhere you go to is like inside Unilag. And so student life is usually very different from what every other person in the city experiences, right? I don't know if there's specific things that were like collegey things versus just London things, right? So you're living in the middle of one of the most diversities in the world, right? So your life, I assume, would be very similar to what someone who lives in London, whether they were getting an MBA or not, right? You were living a
I see what you
real
mean.
London life, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah. Because
I see what you mean.
my school wasn't in the bush, but was in Durham. And Durham is, I mean, there's a couple of things happening, but Duke is like the biggest thing happening in Durham. So a pretty big college city. I don't want to say town because I've gone like there are schools that are way more like super collegey. Like almost everything you do at Duke is like specific to Duke, right? It's different from what everyone else who is not at Duke but lives in the same city is experiencing. I don't think you get that feeling in London, but yeah. Thanks for
I see your point though. I get what you mean about the like college campusy sort
exactly.
of vibe. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So when you were applying to LBS, I assume that you got a lot of support from like Africans who were there at the time, like outcome members and things like that. when you eventually enrolled, do you feel like that level of support carried over, or like did it change? Or what did that dynamic look like onto you?
Support I got at LBS
Yeah. So
from
kind of from outcome from second year student while you were applying and they were trying to woo you versus you are then become a student, right?
yeah.
Did that change or was it the same level of support?
Yeah. Well, so that's an interesting question. I think that when you're in LBS, unless maybe you are a student ambassador or you are a what's the other one now? No, it's more student ambassador. I don't know how frequently you interact with the adcom because you're already in the school.
Mm.
I mean, for now saying changing the hands of support, maybe from adcom now, there's another team that is now there to support you.
Like
Yeah.
career?
Yeah, we had career. We had different areas. So we had student experience managers. I think that's what they call them, but I'm sure you know you had your cohorts separated into different
Yeah.
buckets, right? So each one has a manager that can support
Okay.
you if you need a program team as well, the well-being center, the career center as well, and all the likes. But yeah, so well, each person has different experiences and the different level of support that you expect versus the level of support you get in reality. That varies per person, right? So yeah, so I would say that there was support from LBS, but MBA is the kind of thing where you just have to still do the work, which is, I guess, depends on how you see it. Can be annoying, can make you more proactive. Yeah, I think to answer your question. Yeah, and second years, well, first years, right? So second years were there. So they were there to help, and we got that connection through clubs. You're on a club, or you're on a club exco. Which what is exclusive? What does that
Like,
mean? Executive? Okay, sorry. What does that mean? Yeah, exco. So when in the club exco, you get to interact with second years as well. So that was another avenue too.
okay. Okay. That makes sense. And in the second year, you then became like one of the ESCOs, right? Because you were co-chair of the AB Africa Business Conference, right?
Oh no, I wasn't co-chair. I was part of the planning team.
Part of planning team. Okay. I was
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
ask how you were able to do that, considering that you took a semester abroad, right?
Oh, dude, tell me about it.
Explain, actually talk about your study
I was
abroad.
like, Daphne, I don't know if you know that Yoruba, but I was like, God, they want trust. I wish that I had done it while I was at LBS. But you know what? It actually, like that period was definitely an interesting period for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was definitely interesting because it made me more resilient in terms of trying to find a way to make it work. Have you been part of a conference planning team before?
Yes, for Duke, I was.
Nice. I hope that was a success. You guys were happy with the outcome.
I mean, the people that attend are always happy. The people that planned it, you always feel like you could have done better, or some people messed up. It worked, I would say.
Okay, well, that's nice. The reason I asked that was because I wanted to find out if you knew the schematics of, the planning team in terms of like, oh, this is the speaker
Yeah.
team, this is this. So that was that. And I was in charge of getting speakers for my panel, which was the education and future work panel. So it was tough. I'm not gonna lie to you because we had finalized my panel a bit later on, and it was getting closer to the time. And because I also wasn't there, and a lot of people that I reached out to were not able to travel to LBS. They were not in London, right? So it was a mixture of advance, like letting them know in advance, and making sure it was the right person that fit the profile. So I had to make a call at a point that, okay, you know what? This is the best mix of the people that I want on this panel and the availability as well. So I'm really happy with the panel that I landed on. They're very insightful leaders in the space. Yeah. So the day itself was very rewarding. It was still up and down because everybody's running up and down, but I had so much fun and people had good things to say about the panel and just the whole conference as a whole. But I would say the planning was it was definitely, it was a lot because, like
Yeah.
you said, I was doing it from Wharton and it was like time difference with the team. So it was like a lot of things that I had to like iron out.
Yeah.
But honestly, I learned a lot from that experience and I had a good time,
Yeah.
all in all.
I was at Harvard a day before the ABC conference last year, and I like got a peek of the last minute planning the ABC conference, and it was very intense,
Yeah.
I would say, right? Because my friend Dimlade was the co-president, so it was like pushing a lot of stuff, and I definitely can relate to a lot of the things that you said. But I want you to talk about your actual working experience, right? I know that's an opportunity that you know MBAs have, where you can take
What
an
is this?
exchange, where you can take a semester abroad.
Okay.
But what was your particular, semester abroad experience? Usually people would, be leaving the US and going to Europe. You were coming over to Europe. So do you feel like you had the full working experience in that semester? Because a lot of your classmates had probably also gone on exchanges to other colleges. What did that look like?
Yeah. So I'm grateful for the Wharton experience. I loved the classes. I took a venture capital class and a global growth of emerging firms, family business, and the last one was what now private equity. Sorry, yeah, private equity. Yeah. So I took those 4 classes. I feel like I'm forgetting one.
You
What's
were
it called?
all in on finance.
Influence.
I think one of them was strategy, right?
Yes, VCPE, Global Growth of Emerging Firms. That was I love that one because that kind of talks about emerging markets and just it talks like, Asia, like Africa, like we went across the globe. So
Yeah,
that was
South
pretty
America. Yeah.
interesting. And the last one was family business, because I have a family business back home, so I wanted to learn a few things from there. And influence, that was a great class because MBA power, pass the power, influence, all those kind of classes.
Sounds so fluffy. Influence.
You know what? I actually
Influence.
It was condensed, guy. Like, let me explain to you. Okay. I was fasting during that influence class. And it's, you had a block week. You guys do block weeks, right? Where it's like a week of just like the whole class is in a week. And you get it done in a week. And that's it.
Yes, yeah. Different nomenclature, but yeah, I get that. I get.
So that class, the influence class was a block week. And it was Ramadan. I was fasting. And I had just come back from Nigeria for like a friend's wedding. So it was like, and oh my gosh, the days were now long. Like, oh God, oh my God. I'll break my fast at like what? I don't know, like
7.
8 or something. Yeah, one late time like this. And then I had to wake up very early. It's at 2 a.m. So it was just like it was hard. And it was like back to back classes. But I will say I enjoyed the quality of the quality of the classes were top notch. Of course there's some improvement areas here and there, but all in all, I really love the classes at Wharton. And Wharton also had they had some social activities as well that yeah, and I really love the Black community at Wharton as well. They're very welcoming
Plenty
and
parties in that Wharton. Did you ever go to
like
Wharton and Friends event?
to my friends. I've heard of it, but I don't think I went.
Ah,
No.
okay. They are very popular in the MBA community for parties.
Hmm. I mean they were they were really welcoming and I mean I saw you at the HBS thing as well, right? Because yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah. So I went with like a few watching guys to the ABS events. It was really nice. It was like a nice bonding experience as well with them. It was really fun. I really enjoyed the Harvard ABS. I guess I'm shouting at Harvard here, but like, and then the whole Davido thing that was very interesting. Anyway, I digress. So
moving on.
I'm like, interesting. It was fun. There was one more thing I wanted to say about this. Okay, I would say to the people that are considering exchange, I would say you should be mindful of the time you take the exchange. So I did the spring semester. In retrospect, I probably would have done the fall semester, mainly because, first of all, it's not that cold. That's one thing. I don't like the cold. When I went to Philly, I was like, I'm not joking. Like the first day of class, I was like, I need to go back to London ASAP because what is this negative 15 degrees. What is this? I was so confused.
That's Philly. That's not even Boston. That's not Boston. That's Philly. That's not Chicago. Please, you're not serious yet.
Dude, still, dude, when I told you that, I was like, I was like, nothing I'm wearing is working. What is going on here? I couldn't even, this is not, oh my God. So, yeah, so, but also not just that, because, with the spring semester, second year as well, people are already clocking off like school and everything, and some people finish early. I noticed that the integration into the Wharton community itself was not as seamless during that spring semester. Perhaps it's something to just consider, maybe for maybe a better option, depending on your circumstances, of course. But this is just my personal experience and just my own 2 cents. Yeah.
You were an international student twice, right?
Okay.
You were an international student in Europe and then also in the US. Well, what would you say was the toughest part of being an international student in the MBA program?
So I think the LBS, most of us are international students. That's why I love our LBS. Like, literally, I think, what did they say, 63 nationalities or something? I don't even know. Like, we're so diverse. And that's actually the difference I noticed with the US and UK. Like, in the US classrooms, I swear, like, I think I just maybe once or twice I heard non-American accents. Otherwise, it was just American accents. I'm like, okay, it was definitely something I had to get used to. Like, okay, this is different. But LBS is so diverse, like so diverse. So I mean, so diverse. So international student in LBS, that was great. Like I didn't feel anyhow. It was fine, honestly. With the US, I definitely felt it more in the US because I even had to like seek out like the Africans. Like I was like, where are they? Like guys actually use Ghana must go to come. Where are they?
Ghana was good. Wow.
It's like where are they? So but I mean, again, I also take into context that Wharton was like that. I was there on exchange, right? So it's not the same as me actually going to school there. So yeah, I would say I felt it more in the US than at LBS for the reasons I've said.
And what was like the process of building connections with people in London, but I guess more so in the US, which obviously was exacerbated by the fact that you were only there for one semester. So maybe people weren't very interested in investing time in building relationships. But from the context of a Nigerian who probably isn't used to one having to network to get jobs or things like that, or to having to make small talk to make friends with people. In Nigeria, if you gel with someone, you just gel. If you don't gel, you don't force it, right? And it's kind of opposite of that in the US and maybe also, London. Well, how would you say that you navigated that process?
And networking. Yeah, so networking is I find it's an interesting, is it phenomenon now? What's the word for it? It's just it's something you just have to do.
Yeah.
But I think the more you don't give it power, the more it just becomes less daunting.
Yeah.
And in the influence class, fluffy words, in the influence class, there was a lot of talk about that. Like you should get to know people on a personal level and just try to get to know the person as a person.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a bit hard when you're at a networking event and you're talking to recruiters. Like, like I don't know, like what's your dad's birthday? That's what we're here for. Okay, like I need a job.
Can we talk about the banking and the tech? Why you just kidding? Just kidding.
It's like what's like so. But I try, and I'm sure you've heard of this advice or advice of when you get to a networking event, just find at least 2 people that you gel with. That's good enough, right? Like just create a goal of how many people that you want to connect with, and that's it. Because I think it's when you have authentic conversations with people, and it's a long game thing. That's just what it is. Like you're trying to build connections with people, right? It's not just going to be like, hey, hi. No, it's not going to be like, oh, hey, I need this, and this is it, right? And unless maybe it's transactional and you are just trying to have a job. So how did I navigate it? I think, like I said, just taking the power away. And honestly, I think just it was a lot of introspective work I had to do as well. And this whole MBA has been it's just a very eye-opening experience for me personally, just to know myself as a person, my strengths and my weaknesses. And I think with networking, I also just had to just be confident, right? And just go in and just be like, yeah, because I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses. I know, part of my French, boss has bitch. I know that I am one, so I'm just gonna walk in here and I'm going to show them my worth, right? And not force it. I'm just going to be me. Like when I'm me, it just things just are just easier. So, I mean, when I was in the US, since we talked about that, remember I went to this ETA conference, which is entrepreneurship to acquisition at Wharton, and I met a number of people. Honestly, like yeah, LinkedIn, but there was one guy I met, like really nice guy. We just like hit it off. Literally, just like we went out for dinner that night, the next day as well before he went back home. I was like, that was a genuine connection. I'm like, we exchanged numbers, like nice guy, and he also wanted to go into ETA as well. So he's also gonna he's also applying for US schools and all that stuff. So
Okay.
that was like a genuine connection I had, right? And now I'm like, I can just text him, oh hey, I'm in US, are you free to meet up? Or I'm
Yeah.
in this or that. Or how your venture going? How's that, how's that going along and stuff like that? And then, I'm sure we're friends now and that's how that organically develops. But sorry, I think I'm going on for a while, but just all in all, I think it's just you just be authentic to yourself, truly, truly, because in the NBA, everything feels hard. It feels like it feels like a competition. It feels like, oh, I'm not doing enough. It feels like this because you're around so many talented, ambitious people as well. And you need to really trust yourself. Like you need to be the one that has your own back. Otherwise, you're just going to kind of just lose yourself in the whole process. I think it's just focusing on you and not what anybody else is doing.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing.
Right. On the Tyredo.
No, it was good. Besides the Africa, what do you guys call it? Africa Business Club, and then the Black in Africa. I don't know what you guys call it.
Black in Africa.
What are the
Black in business.
Black in
Stop.
business? What are the
Are we not black in Africa?
there are fair people now, Fulani people are fair. Anyway, what are the communities
So
management
funny.
did you get involved in
Yeah.
at LBS?
So I was a member of the EXCO, the People's Strategy Club. I had so much fun there. It
People
was
strategy.
basically that's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know. I'm joking. No, so the People's Strategy Club is basically the way I saw my team was that we were there to equip people with the necessary leadership skills and interpersonal skills required to succeed, not just in the workplace, but just general relationships and connections and things like that. So it was
Soft skills.
conflict resolution, confidence, just like the soft skills that you don't talk about.
Okay.
That was
There
what
was
the
a
club
club
was
for
about.
that. That's
Yeah, it was because it was a good way for me. It was also a good way for me to work on my soft skills because that's something I really prioritized on the
yeah.
MBA. So yeah, that was what that was
Okay.
for.
Okay. I would say if you could say give like a 15-30 second speech or advice to someone who is just starting their MBA today, right, at LBS, what would you
Yep.
say to them?
Okay. Just taking a few seconds. Okay, so there are few things. I'm just going to list them out. So I'll say the first one is that try things out. The LBS really opens you up to so many opportunities. We have a lot of opportunities in the venture capital Mint program. I don't know if you know this program, but it's like Wharton organizes it and then different business schools get involved. There's so many programs like that where you can try new things. There are a lot of consulting ones. And I would say maybe do something that you haven't done before. I'll say that because you just never know. Now, if you know you want to do finance after, you want to be an investment banker, then if you want to do things that are aligned with finance, for sure, please go ahead. Or maybe try and do things that you haven't done before and you can experience. Now, maybe it's in line with finance that you want to do, but it doesn't hurt to because you have 2 years, right? And you've paid for this. So you might as well just explore different things.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would do. If I could do it again, I would do more of that. That's one. Number two, when you're starting out, I would say go to more of the social events. So that you can meet more people. It might be a bit overwhelming at first because there's so many people. We're 500 people on the cohort, and People have different things going on here and there and there. So whatever you're comfortable with, I would say just you will eventually find your people or your crowd. But try to do more social events that is comfortable enough for you. Because I know people are different. There's some introverts, there's people that are reserved, and it doesn't work for them going out clubbing or whatever. Whatever works for you, find it and try and meet people. That's what I would say.
Amazing. I have one final question for you, and then just two unofficial ones. But my final question officially is, so when we're applying to the MBA in 2023, there were already, conversations around how the economy of countries generally around the world, more so I'd say the UK and the US, right, wasn't in the best place. And that was a concern that a lot of people had. I remember a conversation that we had on that MBA group that year where people were trying to figure out, and there were justifications and arguments here and there as to whether the value of the MBA was still higher than the risks, or right. But I feel like much more so today, right? There's so much uncertainty in the immigration landscape, and the economy of the world, I feel like, is worse than it was 2 years ago, right? If you were to be applying to the MBA today, right? If you had to redo the process and you're applying today, one, would you go ahead, leave your job, go to London to get an MBA? Two, what kind of considerations would you have in that decision-making process? So what kind of things would you think about? What are the considerations that you'd have in making your decision?
That is what I know today, right?
Yes.
If I knew this 2 years ago.
So knowing what
Or am I applying
you're
today?
applying today,
Okay.
and all the conditions that exist today apply today or applied 2 years ago.
Well, first of all, I think I'll be more crystal clear. It's okay to not really have a full clear picture of what the next 5-10 years look like, but I would want to look at roles that are future proof, start with the AI revolution. So I'll focus my efforts on the skills and roles that are more future proof, pretty much. And that's something I'm going to do right now. So when I'm writing that essay, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing, have that in mind. So when I'm coming into the MBA, like I kind of have like an idea, right? I will still do the MBA because I there's value in the MBA, right? Now, whether value outweighs the cost, honestly, I think that's probably like a long-term investment.
Yeah.
And I'm not here spewing this. I'm not like an MBA fanatic, or LBS didn't pay me, like, no. But
We have not been paid yet.
Well, they did pay me. I was a peer leader, so they paid me for that one. But
not for this.
Not for this. Speaking of which, you can do peer leader to make some extra money on the MBA. That's just, by the way, if you want to. That's it. Some other schools should have it, right? Like you can do stuff, career, like helping the first years or something like that, right?
Yeah, there's so many different names, but the same idea. You're supporting MBA first years to maybe prepare for classes or to navigate career choices. I don't call them career fellows. And then there's also like admissions fellows where you're part of the admissions committee, helping to interview the next class. They call them different things, but yeah, there's opportunity to make money, I guess, and contribute.
That's a good way to do that if you're trying to get some extra cash on the program. And and I'll still apply. I think that's my summary, because it's really, MBA has exposed me to so much. Maybe I could have learned it myself. Maybe, like, it's just, be fair, you can learn anything. Coursera. Yeah. I think also just traveling. Okay, I forgot to mention, and I'm sure you might, I'm not sure, maybe you have mentioned before, but as part of the program, you have to travel to a different country to observe their business environment. And I know most MBAs have that. I would not have gone to Brazil. Like, what's taking me there, if I was not on the MBA. So that's just an example, just to show you how global the MBA is, at least LBS. What do you say?
The carnival can take you to Brazil,
I'll go and tell my PwC boss. So, by the way, sorry, can I take leave to go to for the carnival? Yeah, so it's very global. LBS specifically is very global. And it's just really opened my mind to so many things. Like, I would not have been thinking this way if I was back. Maybe 2 years is a long time, to be fair. Maybe if I was on. But I feel like I would probably, like my job, I was just doing financial services projects. I was just on one thing. in Nigerian market. Now I know much more, and I kind of I can see how the pieces fit together, even with the African story. Because like I said, I'm still planning to go back eventually. But how does it all fit together? Like, those are questions that the MBA has forced me to think about. And I'm really grateful for that.
Amazing. Amazing. When you spoke about LBS being global, I want to tell you a funny story. So, one of the reasons why I really liked LBS, I wanted to go there. When I was younger, right, I used to like Bukola Saraki a lot. If you don't know him,
Interesting.
he was one of
I
the
know
first
Bukola Saraki.
Senate president
Yeah.
ever. At that time, I used to watch all the Senate proceedings because of him. He just had so much raise. I really like that guy. And I read somewhere that he has an MBA from LBS.
Really?
MBA or a master's in whatever from LBS. And like it just was always on my mind, like, oh, I want to go to Bukola Saraki.
Was that your essay?
No, no, because he has fucked up after then, so I didn't like him again. But yeah, that was my kind of like my first introductions to LBS. But yeah, I just wanted to chip that in. Thank you so much for your time. Right. But I have two unofficial questions for you. One is, tell me something about your school, LBS, that you found out that you would typically not have found out, like you would not have found in a brochure or something, something you had to go to LBS to find. And it might be as simple as a painting that, somewhere in the corridor, or a restaurant that you found around the campus, or like a tunnel that's in one of the buildings. Something, it doesn't have to be anything grandiose, right? And two, tell me something about yourself that has nothing to do with your career or the MBA, that you're interested in or involved in. I think we kind of talk about Ominira in your profile. You might want to, that might be it, but something you're interested in or involved in that we haven't spoken about.
Okay. So the to answer your first question, there's a monthly, bi-weekly or monthly event that happens at LBS called Sundowners. It's a very popular thing that happens here not every Friday, but it happens on Friday. I don't know how many times in a month actually. But yeah, it's a big student-led event where the Sundowners team basically occupies the book, that's the word, our lounge on Friday evening from 6 p.m. or so. And there's free food, free drinks, and people can just come, literally free. So it became like a staple standard
Who is a
here.
sundowner? What does that mean?
You know what? That's a good question. I haven't stopped to think about that.
Okay.
Sundown, maybe like when the sun goes down,
Yeah,
then the
like
party
that they
starts.
watch the sun go
I
down. Like,
think, yeah, I think that's what that is about. Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So yeah, sundowners, but it's a big thing here. It's an LBS, maybe not
Culture.
rite of passage, but it's a big thing here. So second thing, second question. One thing about me that I like to do. So yeah, I mean, Ominira, we talked about that. It's a personal project of mine. So I started this brand. Sorry, I created this brand when I was back home with a couple of my friends, photographer, fashion designer, and I just love to create stuff like artistic stuff that means something to me, my personal journey. It started with I wanted to depict like mental health stories back then. And just as I got to know myself more as a person, I wanted to showcase that in more in the form of visual images. And last year, I released the first video. I was so proud of that. Like it just gave me life. I'm not even gonna lie. Like so, but it literally is just like a passion project of mine. And I say in another life I would have been a film director, but
I mean, why not
well,
this life?
people say that, but I just maybe one day I'll invest in a production studio, or maybe I'll own one or something. Maybe, but yeah, that's another thing. So yeah, and I love movies too. So that's I kind of aligns with that.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. And I know we're right on time. Maybe we've even gone a few minutes of time, but I really just wanted to thank you for making the time to be here and have this conversation. I'm pretty sure and confident that it will be useful for people in the future who were thinking of getting the LBS MBA.
Yes, and feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn if you're listening to this and you want to apply to LBS. I'm happy to pay it forward. I know how the process can be somewhat isolating and stressful, but yeah, happy to help.
Thank you. Thank you again. And see you guys on another episode of the Business 101 podcast.